Hey everybody, this is Tom with Rocket Restorations, and we just wanted to do a video today on kind of where the market is right now. So we did a couple videos back in January on the auctions, like the big Mecum Kissimmee auction and then the Barrett Jackson auction, and we had really good feedback on that, and we kind of just we have some unique insight to where the market is and where it's going, and we deal with a lot of this stuff. We talk to a lot of people, and I think it's always informative to see where the market is now. And it was interesting to see what happened at the big auctions because Mopars did okay, not great. Stuff was some stuff was up, some stuff was down, and we just kind of want to give you an update of where we're at right now. The big Monterey auctions just happened, and that's not really a big one for Mopars. That's more the higher end stuff, the fancy stuff, Italians, and you know, late model classics have been really popular right now. Analog cars like the '90s, Lamborghinis, everything's automatic now and electronic, and those analog cars are really going up right now, and a lot of money's kind of going that way. But it's just kind of interesting to see. There's Mopar stuff kind of mixed in with that. For example, there was a Daytona that went for big money that we're going to highlight here in a second, and then the Mecum Dallas auction just happened, and it was kind of interesting to see what happened there. And it's kind of an illustration of I don't necessarily think that that's where the market's going right now, but it's anytime you can take a snapshot of the market at a certain place, it's kind of interesting how that happened. So, all right, let me go a little deep dive into this. We're going to start out with the highlight a couple cars from the Monterey auctions, including a Daytona that went for huge money, and then we'll do a little bit on what happened at the Dallas Mecum auction. All right, we're going to start with the Mecum Monterey auction, and again, keep in mind there really aren't any entry-level cars at this auction. The only cars that Mecum brings that are muscle are really, really high-end stuff. But the results were pretty eye-opening, actually. So, and again, I went over this in my last couple of videos, and I just feel like I need to reiterate this because I always get comments about this. I understand that the majority of people, including me, can't afford one of these cars. I mean, we're talking, hundreds of thousands, in some cases, millions of dollars. And I can't afford them either. And I understand oh, it's ruining the hobby, blah, blah, blah. And it's so why are you talking about this? Well, I'm talking about it because it matters, because there's an effect called a halo car. So the top end, whatever the top end of the car is selling for, it matters because that's a trickle-down effect to the other cars. So, for example, in the first run-up of muscle cars in the 80s and 90s and everything, the 71 Hemi Cuda convertible was absolute king. So when those hit $1 million, and those hit $5 million, and those hit $8 million, well, there's a trickle-down effect. So then, a 446 packed 4-speed Cuda convertible, that's going to be worth a couple $100,000 because that's the next step below a Hemi car. And then, even a 318 Cuda convertible, that went from a $10,000 car to a $50,000 car to a $75,000 car. All of a sudden when those top end cars went up, and in the last couple of years we've seen it with the wing cars. The Daytonas have gone up so much. Again, we're about to feature one here in a second, but they've gone up so much over the years that Chargers have just followed them. Chargers is still one of the most popular cars in the market. There's a lot of reasons for that. People from my generation, I tend to be on the younger side, although I'm getting old. I won't say my age, but I'm younger than a lot of people in the hobby, but I'm getting old. But a lot of people from my generation really like Chargers. We grew up with the Dukes of Hazzard. We grew up with Fast and Furious series, that black car. We had a 70 Charger here in the shop that we recently picked up, a semi-Charger RT that was kind of a basket case. And, that's going to a guy who's going to do a Fast and Furious clone with it. And, it's kind of a shame to do that on a plum crazy 70 RT, but that's the reality. That's what people want to do. And the guy who bought it's a friend of mine. We would have loved to finish it, but we're just too busy doing customer cars right now. All right, enough rambling. So we're going to highlight 3 cars from the Mecum Monterey auction. So the first car here is a 1969 Dodge Daytona. And what's crazy about this one is this is a new world record for this car, and it's insane. This car sold for $3.3 million. It's really crazy how much the wing cars have gone up the last couple of years, and I just don't see... I don't know. I keep on thinking there's a cap on it, and then one sells for more and more money, and it's just insane what these things are selling for. It really is. So, I mean, this car sold for $1.32 million at Indy 2022 Mecum, and everybody thought he was crazy at that time. well, the car's tripled in value since then. So it's crazy. Daytonas are they just keep on going up and up and up. And I just don't know where the bottom is on, or where the top is on Daytonas right now. Superbirds tended to take a little bit of a hit. At Mecum Kissimmee this year, there was a ton of Superbirds there, and I think it did affect the market. And apparently, a few of the cars there weren't that nice. So Superbirds have definitely gone down a hair, but Daytonas are just keep on chugging along. So, but yeah, that's a crazy result. That just may be an example of two people in the room, but that's one of the best ones in the country. It's a Hemi 4-speed car. Green's not the best color in the world, but I love dog dishes on those. It's just a really good looking car. Yeah, so insane results. That's a new world record for a Daytona. And let me go show you another Daytona they sold. Also, I just want to give a little shout out to Dustin Kinley. He's a guy I follow on Facebook. He's a guy who posts like results on this stuff, and it's really neat. He does some stuff. I took a couple of these pictures came from his Facebook feed, so I appreciate that. Okay, so the next one, I actually have some history on this one. So this is a 1969 Daytona. It's a 440 automatic. There's really nothing super special about the car other than it's a survivor and it has a cool story. So this was sold new locally to me, Puyallup, Washington, and the guy who owned it was a Army recruiter. So it's all lettered up. It looks like an old race car. It has like Spirit of 76 on the side. It's really cool, but that's what the guy did. Like he traveled around recruiting for the Army, which was not a real popular job in the late 70s. Obviously, at the end of Vietnam and all that was not a real popular. And apparently, so he painted up, they traveled around and did it, and then in the late 70s. Somebody was mad at him for doing that, and they took a knife and cut the seats. And apparently he just put it in storage after that. And it's pretty crazy. It was in storage in Puyallup for 40 years, 30, 40 years. And then it resurfaced a few years ago. And I was actually really lucky to see it right after it came out, before any of the work was done. They're actually looking for like survivor parts for it to, like a yellowed washer bottle and some of that stuff to preserve the car, obviously, because the car has a really cool story and a really cool history. It's a red 440 auto. A lot of the Daytonas were that, but the car has a really neat history. And it was funny. I actually had a chance to buy. I tried to buy it. It was offered to me for $75, and I tried to buy it, but unfortunately, the person who owned it changed their mind. But it actually got featured in Hot Rod Magazine, which is pretty cool, and I actually got quoted in the article, which is very cool. It's the first time I'd ever been in Hot Rod Magazine. It's pretty neat. But it's kind of interesting what this car sold for. It got $264,000, which really sounds a little light to me on that. With what Daytonas have been selling for. I mean, it's a survivor. It's not like a perfect car in any way, shape, or form. They fixed the seats. They did some mechanical restoration on it. But it's got a really cool story and a really cool history. And I really thought that would have been, closer to 300,000. But, we're talking a lot of money here, obviously. So, but I just thought that was kind of interesting that the car didn't go for more. But yeah, it's just kind of neat because I had some personal history with this one. I saw it when it came out of storage, and it has a really cool history. Because I think it was the last Washington Daytona that wasn't a known car. Every other Daytona that was sold in Washington was known until this one showed up. All right, so we got the last one from the Mecum Monterrey auction here, and this one's interesting because, again, it's just a halo car. It's a 70 Hemi Cuda convertible, and, I was talking earlier, the 71 Hemi Cuda convertible tends to be kind of the bellwether of the muscle car market, which is really interesting because the Daytona sold for more money than this, but I digress. But this one, so when it went up on the block, it bid up to $2 million, and it was a non-sale. Because keep in mind, like the 71 Hemi Cuda convertible is the rarest, but they only made a couple more 70s. 70 is almost as rare. Obviously, they don't get as much attention. People think the 71 looks a little bit better. And, they made like 2 or 3 more of the 70s. So they're that much more common. But yeah, it bid up to $2 million, and then it didn't sell. But then all of a sudden, they announced right after that, it did sell. So it got $2,576,000, which is just kind of interesting. That's obviously a lot of money for that. But, I figure, looking at previous results, that's probably about what it should have gone for. All right, so now we're going to cover the Mecum Dallas auction, and there's definitely some lessons to be learned here. So, I'm sorry, there's like sunlight on my face, and I can't stop doing it. It's going through the shades over here. I don't know. The sun just came out. I'm trying to enjoy the last sunshine before fall here. So the Mecum Dallas auction, so it's really interesting. So Mecum kind of has their main auction. So obviously Kissimmee's the biggest. That's the biggest auction in the world right now. Like literally, they sell more cars than anybody else. They put a lot of effort into the Mecum Monterey auction. That's a big dollar auction. But again, there's not a lot of entry-level cars there. That's more high-end stuff. And then their indie auction, they put a lot of effort into too. I mean, they put effort into all their auctions, but the rest are kind of satellite auctions and aren't really as big. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar. There's a place called Mopars 5150. They have a real good social media presence online. So they decided to bring a ton of cars to Mecum Dallas. I mean, a ton of cars. And there was a lot of reasons for that. They were trying to sell off some inventory. It was really close to their headquarters in Texas, so they didn't have to transport stuff that long. But to put it mildly, it was a bit of a bloodbath. Like, nothing sold. Well, not literally nothing, but pretty much nothing sold. It was a lot of Mopars in one place at one of the smaller auctions, and it didn't work out that well. I'll just put it that way. So 5150 brought 49 cars to Mecum Dallas. That's a lot of cars. Again, they wouldn't have done this unless they were local. And I did talk to Tony from 5150, so I'll give you some of his comments here in a minute. But they sold 9 cars out of the 49. That's not good. It's really, really not good. Let me give you a montage. Are you ready for a montage? Montage, montage, montage. Sorry, South Park reference that almost no one will get. All right, 70 Challenger TA, 90,000. The bid goes on. 71 Charger SC sunroof, $25,000. Bid goes on. 1970 Dodge Charger SC with a sunroof, $45,000. Bid goes on. What's really crazy is they had a bunch of sunroof Chargers, and those have been like one of the hottest cars in the market lately. They'd be getting like $100,000 for a 383 car, and I don't think any of them sold. It's really crazy. 72 Charger SC, bid goes on, $27,000. 1973 Plymouth Cuda, $42,000. Bid goes on. 71 Charger SE, $25,000. Bid goes on. 69 Charger SE sunroof, $70,000. Bid goes on. 70 Plymouth GTX, $90,000. Bid goes on. 66 Hemi Charger, $85,000. Bid goes on. 70 Charger RT, $70,000. Bid goes on. The Superbird sold, got $220,000. But yeah. 70 Charger RT SE, $140,000. Bid goes on. 6-pack 4-speed. That seems like good money for that car, but I don't really know it that well. 71 Plymouth Cuda, fuel-injected 440 with a 5-speed and vintage air, $75,000. Bid goes on. Seems like a decent resto mod somebody would want. 70 Plymouth GTX hardtop, $50,000. Bid goes on. 68 Hemi Roadrunner Coupe, one of 391 with automatic and featured in a magazine, $75,000. Bid goes on. 71 Cuda with a stroked out Hemi, $150,000. Bid goes on. 70 Coronet RT convertible, $60,000. Bid goes on. 70 Challenger RT convertible, $82,000. Bid goes on. 71 Plymouth Barracuda with a stroked out Hemi and a 4-speed, $120,000. Bid goes on. You getting a theme here? Yeah, I am too. 69 Dodge Daytona. This is like the nicest Daytona in the country. The guy did a build thread on this that I watched. This is the nicest Daytona in the country. It's a 4-speed car. And OE Gold, best of show winner, $300,000. Bid goes on. That seems really late for that car. Like really, really late. That is the nicest Daytona in the country. Daytonas are going insane right now, especially after one just sold for $3 million for a Hemi 4-speed. 70 Superbird, 440 4-speed, $180,000. Bid goes on. That seems really light, especially as a guy with a 4-speed Superbird right now. Light. 70 Roadrunner Coupe, V-Code 446 barrel, 4-speed, super track pack. Again, as a guy with a V-Code Roadrunner, $70,000 seems really light on that car. 70 Roadrunner hardtop, another 6-barrel. This one's an automatic, $55,000. That's really low. As a guy with a 6-pack automatic Project, I would barely sell my Project for that, let alone a done car. 70 Challenger TA, 346 spec, 4-speed, $67,000. Again, that seems pretty light. That other one got 90. 68 Dodge Hemi Charger RT, $175,000. I just heard of a Project sell for $125, $130, I think. That seems a little light because the car still had to get finished. Same color combo too. And that one was a 4-speed, so I guess 4-speed goes a little bit more than automatic. 70 Cornet RT convertible, 440 4-speed. Those are super rare cars. Like production on those is like single digits on all of them, and $120,000. Bid goes on, just like every other car in this auction. It seems like 71 Charger, $40,000 bid goes on. Supercharged modern Hemi. You can't build it for that, not even close. 70 Charger custom with a supercharged 6.2, so Hellcat motor basically. 6-speed carbon fiber body, $350,000. I can't comment on that one. I'm sure it probably costs more than that to build, but that's a lot of money for a resto mod. 70 Challenger TA, 4-speed, $120,000 bid goes on. Again, that seems like good money for that car. Challenger RT SE, $45,000 bid goes on. Another bid goes on. Shocking, $92,000. 69 Charger RT SE hardtop, 4-speed. That's cool. 444 speed, 92. That should be 6 figures. 71 Dodge Hemi Charger RT. I'm sure that's an ex-Wellborn car. Every pretty much Hemi 71 Charger is a ex-Wellborn car. He pretty much owned all of them over the years. $200,000. I don't know what that sold for previously, but I'm pretty sure it sold for more money than that. 70 Charger RT sunroof car. This is an interesting car. This car has like 3 broadcast sheets, perfectly documented. 90 seems really light on that car. I mean, this is a lot of Mopars at a small auction, like a lot of Mopars. Oh, great. Another bid goes on. 69 GTX convertible, fuel injected 440, 5-speed, air conditioning. Great resto mod, great driver. $90,000. Bid goes on. Coincidentally enough, they bought 2 General Lees and they both sold. So what does that tell you? 70 Roadrunner Coupe, V-Code 446 barrel, 4-speed, $85,000. Bid goes on. Yeah, I think you guys get the picture here. There's a lot of bid goes on at the Dallas Mecum auction. So according to my research here, again, hopefully I get these numbers right. I did double check these, but there's a chance I may be wrong here. They brought 49 cars there and 9 sold. And one was a Corvette, one was a GT350, one was a Camaro. So 6 Mopars sold at the Dallas Mecum auction. So there's some lessons to be had here. First of all, don't bring a big Mopar collection to a small Mecum auction. It's too many cars at one place. There just aren't the buyers there. Like if you want to get real money, it needs to go to Kissimmee, it needs to go to Indy, it needs to go to one of their big auctions. Like, because these little auctions, they just don't bring money. And bringing a collection that's this big just isn't going to work. So, and I actually asked Tony from Mopars 5150 to comment on this. And basically I asked him, like, what do you think happened? And I'll just quote what he said here. So I don't want to, speak for him. But he basically said many factors played into this. The Dallas is a smaller auction. He really didn't like their placement. It was, some of the times really weren't at the right time. And that's a huge factor in auction too. Like when your cars go up for auction, it makes a huge difference on when they go. If even if you're at, Kissimmee on Friday, like the premiere day, Mecum Kissimmee, if you run at 9 a.m., like your car's not going to sell. And the election is coming up. Everybody's freaked out about that. I'm not going to get into politics here, but like a lot of people are just kind of waiting to see what happens, basically on both sides of the fence. And people are just a little scared to put out that much money. But it was a lot of cars at the same place. Tony said their dealership has been doing fine. Like they haven't had to slow down there. So I think this was just an instance where it was kind of wrong place, wrong time. It was too many cars at an auction and there just weren't that many buyers there. So, and it was close to them. So they really didn't have much to lose to bring stuff there. So yeah, so basically just to wrap all this up, I still think the Mopar market's pretty strong. We just sold a super nice Survivor 72 Duster. I'm not going to say the price because I don't think that's appropriate, but it was like one of the nicest 72 Survivor Dusters in the country. It's a 72, which is worth they're worth less than 71. 71s always get more money. Those have higher compression engines, rally dash, whatever. It was a column auto, but I posted the price on Facebook Marketplace and I got so much hate mail on that. And we got what we wanted for it. So good cars are still bringing good money. The 69 Daytona for $3 million, good cars bring good money. The Duster, great car, brought great money. It's the non-numbers cars. It's the cars that have numbers issues. It's the cars that have been in accidents that have huge sheet metal replacement. And honestly, that's the sign of a healthy market. When good stuff is getting good money and bad stuff isn't, that's the sign of a good market. I think that's kind of where we're at right now. The other lesson is don't bring 50 Mopars to one of the smaller Mecum auctions. Even if it's in your backyard, it's just a bad idea. and it's not really going to work. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. This is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and we will talk to you soon.